I'm gonna try something here. I don't know how well or how much you know about this fella that's kind of been running things here, Pete Gallagher. Pete is, there's a lot more to him than what you see and realize. He is, there was a fellow named James Richardson. I don't know if you remember him or not, down in Arcadia. He had 7 children that died. They'd eaten poison and some grits. And that man spent 21 years in prison, was on death row, almost executed. Pete Gallagher is why that gentleman is out of jail today. Hadn't been for Pete, it took 21 years to clear his name, but today he's going home. It was in Arcadia, Florida, back in 1960. Wait a minute, now let me get this right. In Arcadia, Florida. All right, we're gonna try it again. You know, I've written over 500 songs. I never write them on paper, so it's all in my head. And if I get too close to a microwave oven or a cell phone tower or something, there's trouble. It took 21 years to clear his name, but today he's going home. It was in Arcadia, Florida, where 7 children died back in 1967 from a lethal insecticide. The deadly poison parathion was found in the food they ate, and the sheriff said it was a murder as he begun to investigate. The whole town mourned this tragedy, cried out for justice to be done, but the sheriff said, "We've solved the case." They arrested James Richardson. Yeah, they blamed the father for this heinous deed, and they said they knew his motive, and it was nothing more than greed. They said insurance money had made him a suspect, but Richardson said, "I'm innocent. That insurance wasn't in effect." So they brought to court 3 witnesses, and they all testified. They had heard his jailhouse confession, but Richardson said they lied. He said the whole thing's impossible. I wasn't even there. But a Fort Myers jury found him guilty. His sentence, the electric chair. Now I know he must have often thought if I was only white and I had plenty of money, I wouldn't be in this fix tonight. And it was always rumored that Richardson was framed. A book was written about it, but in prison he remained. So on death row he waited, and it all seemed so unfair, because whoever killed those children was a walking free somewhere. But with that evil death chamber just a few short steps away, James Richardson knew his fate was sealed. There was nothing he could do but pray. But then a miracle happened. The Supreme Court stopped executions, and now he'd spend the rest of his days locked away in institutions. It took 21 years to clear his name, but today he's going home. Well, many years have come and gone hidden file containing evidence that had been suppressed for all these years. It would prove his innocence. But nobody seemed too interested in Richardson anymore. Why, he had been there so long, they assumed he was guilty. They'd heard it all before. But a young reporter, Pete Gallagher, heard of Richardson's plight, and there was something about it that gnawed at him. He couldn't sleep at night. So just to satisfy his curiosity, he thought he'd check around. And that's when he heard about a stolen file. The secret file was found. When he saw this file, he knew that he was on to something big. So he brought in his friend Charles Flowers. Now together they would dig. Well, these young men dug up the facts about how witnesses lied, of how an innocent man was framed and very nearly died. They interviewed James Richardson, then his wife, Annie Mae. And when the story broke, it was front page news all across the USA. So in Arcadia, Florida, back in 1989, James Richardson sat silently as a judge laid it on the line. He said, 21 years in prison? Now that's a mighty long time. This innocent man must be set free. He's guilty of no crime. So the long nightmare was over, but questions still remain. Whoever killed those children, and why was Richardson blamed? Well, the answer to these questions may never come to light. But there's one thing we know for sure concerning Richardson's plight. If not for young Pete Gallagher digging up the past, James Richardson would never have said, "Thank God I'm free at last." It took 21 years to clear his name. But there's nobody waiting at his front gate. Sorry, James, you're 20 years too late. Pete Gallagher. Thank you, Pete.